3, 2, 1. Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the ehab.healthcare Facebook page. This is my third little chat in a series of little chats on the subjects of relapse. I did actually two presentations yesterday and submitted them to the admin of the ehab.healthcare Facebook page, and they will do whatever it is they do with them. And whilst I was in the mode of talking relapse this morning, it kind of sticks with you. And this morning I went down to, we have a sober living facility. We have a house for people who are coming out of primary treatment or they've relapsed, and it's that in-between phase. They can't quite afford to go back into treatment. They can't quite afford to stay at home. So we have our facility in Plettenberg Bay. And it's kind of minimal therapeutic, but no nonsense with regards to the concept of relapse. If I believe I'm witnessing a relapse, I say so. And this morning I end up talking to these two guys, two of the residents, who are completely avoiding their responsibilities to start practicing the recovery program. Okay, they've got everything at their disposal and they're procrastinating. The beach is more attractive. They've suddenly got lots of other things to do. So this morning I go in and I explain how I've stayed clean and sober for 28 years. And I've stayed clean and sober having buried my dad, having actually truly grieved the death and the burial of my mom. I was maybe 5 or 6 years clean before I actually cried, because of I cried for the loss of my mom and the suffering she went through. All my crying before that was because of my suffering and what I went through. Why me? Why me? Why me? But anyway, in recovery, I was able to really grieve and let go of my mom to the best of my ability. And I've also buried in real time my dad, two sisters. Okay, it's just recovery is able to face any storm. It really is. I cannot think of one solid reason why I could have done, should have done, and would have relapsed in days gone by. Relapse is off the table. I'm a failed addict. I accept that lock, stock and barrel. I completely know within my heart of hearts I'm a failed addict. I know several successful addicts. They are all buried in the same graveyard. Okay? So this morning I explained to these guys how, and my deepest belief is, relapse was never, for 28 years, man, I've not craved for the substances I was married to, man. 24/7. You don't get Christmas off from a heroin addiction. You don't take long weekends off from injecting speedballs on a day-to-day basis. Okay? And since I got clean on the 17th of June 1993, and from the 18th of June 1993, I have yet to encounter a craving for those substances, the influence of those substances. And I am convinced it's because my recovery is on a solid foundation. It's all about the foundations. During my last 6 months of the prison sentence, I was clean and sober, and I realized that I hadn't gained any weight even since getting clean. And I also realized that the weight actually fell off me when I was in a 7-week window of solitary confinement. And solitary confinement is exactly that. It's solitary confinement. And in that solitary confinement window, I saw me. Okay, and the weight fell off and the depression kicked in. And I did get clean. And I did then admit to God, to someone else, admit to myself, to God and to someone else, the exact nature of my wrongs. And I had to get out of prison and continue to confess the exact nature of my wrongs. And I had to get all those the stains and the remains and the dross from within me needed to come out. I was fortunate enough to actually literally break down spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, nervous, emotional, complete breakdown on the 17th of June 1993. And that's exactly what I needed. Once the inventory started, I couldn't stop it. And then, so when I come out of prison, I do between 7 and 9 meetings a week, AA and NA, for something like a 4-year period, something like that. That's how I remember it. I'm pretty sure that's pretty close. I can't guarantee you that I went to a meeting every day for 4 hours, but my goal was, my lifestyle was recovery meeting. When any recovery meeting I could get to, I did get to. And after the prison sentence, I look back now and I see that once I was able to see the exact nature of my wrongs, I was able to vomit them out, man. I went through a process of just talking about all the dirty little secrets that had haunted me and kept me anchored all those years. And as I was unloading from all this shame and guilt and the fear of loneliness, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the believing myself to be a failure, all that mess, and it just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And then as it started to slow down, I'm left empty, and into that emptiness I start to digest recovery principles. For me personally, biblical principles. A relationship with my God was absolutely essential and still is absolutely essential. Okay, and so I'm fortunate enough to be able to say that my foundations were built on solid ground. The foundations of lengthy recovery is on solid foundations. Okay, I could then go into the growth stages of the program and I'm in the maintenance phase of the 12-step recovery program, where I continue to keep an eye on myself, and I know I'm going to get it wrong, and I do get it wrong, but the program and just the courage that it needs has been practiced often enough to come quite naturally for me to really embrace something when I get it wrong. So I can continue to take a personal inventory, and when I'm wrong, I'm all right to admit it. Okay, as long as I'm not admitting it so that I can feel better. If I harm you, if I hurt you, if I wrong you, I want your well-being to be the result of my amends, not my well-being. Okay, it does work out that way, but if I've hurt you, my reasons for making amends are for your sake as much as mine. Okay, and I'm on a daily walk of seeking to know God more and to understand his will for me and to carry this message. So I'm in 10, 11 and 12 pretty much most of the time. Having said that, I never lose sight of the fact that I'm one injection away from all that chaos. The relapse seems to be, on the whole, at bay. And I think it's because I'm on solid foundations, really solid foundations. I still need to change, I still need to grow, but on the whole, I'm on solid foundations, okay? And I tend to go to the safe places these days. I don't put myself in unsafe environments. For me to even think that I can go into an unsafe environment and enjoy it, for crying out loud, that's relapse for me. There's the relapse. It's not going into the dangerous places, it's thinking that I can go into these dangerous places and actually enjoy it. Why would I want to go into a culture of people who don't know themselves, who try to tell me who I am, etc., etc. Dangerous people carrying weapons, carrying sexually transmittable diseases, carrying everything. If I even contemplate the notion of making that my social group again, the thought of it is the embryo of the relapse. And so I developed over the years a new peer group, a new circle of friends, a new social life, I'm quite steady in my career. I've been married 20 years this year, and just doing the right things with the right people in the right places at the right times for the right reasons keeps the relapse at bay. The shame, the guilt, the fear, the loneliness, the fear of loneliness, it's on the whole, it's pretty much been dealt with. I'm not saying that I can walk on water, because I can't. That is not a halo. See, that's where the God of my understanding, you see this? That's where the God of my understanding keeps going, Colin, stop it. That's my theory anyway. It might be wrong, but that's my theory. I try to go to the right place at the right times, to be with the right people for the right reason, to do the right things. And you know, if I can go to the right places at the right times, to be with the right people, to do the right things for the right reasons, it's impossible to relapse in that atmosphere. So if I am craving relapse, if I am craving the substances, if the craving the substances are getting bigger and bigger, I guarantee you it's because there's something stirred, there's a dead something inside that's trying to come back to life. And the only way we can feel comfortable when those carcasses start to resurrect themselves in our heart and in our minds is we gravitate towards other people who also smell. I can't smell me if I surround myself by smelly people. And so my responsibility is not to bury the carcass and suppress it. Bring it out, share it to death, bring it to the group, bring it to friends. Accept how I contributed to enjoying being miserable because of the carcass. And so as I keep my side of the street clean, as I keep my conscience clean, as I keep my worldview clean, as I take responsibility for my thought life, and I keep a vigilant watch over my own heart, it's very difficult to relapse in that type of atmosphere. And if you are drifting back towards relapse, it's because you're in the wrong atmosphere and there's something you're not talking about. It is that simple. Let me turn that round. It's not because you're in the wrong atmosphere and there's something you're not talking about. Okay? You're in the wrong atmosphere because there's something you're not talking about and you're trying to self-medicate. Let me tell you, boys and girls, we've got recovery coaches on the www.ehab.healthcare website. It's an army of recovery coaching veterans with years of clean time. You will not share with them anything they've not already heard, not already done, not already dealt with. Okay? If you're relapsing, it's not because of what you are doing, it's because of what you're not doing. Okay? There's a link underneath this little conversation. As I say, this is the third talk in the series of talks in the Relapse series on ehab.healthcare Facebook page. And I'm going to keep drumming this message home, man. If you have accepted that you have an addiction, you have instantly transferred over into a relapse awareness and prevention program. Okay, it doesn't mean the addiction's gone away. You've now got to work on not relapsing. As your recovery grows, your addiction shrinks. As you share the emotional, psychological, spiritual mess in the recovery groups, the addiction loses its teeth, loses its talons, loses its grip on you. Okay, so follow the link below, man. Go and have a look at the website, www.ehab.healthcare. We're addiction specialists. If you keep tapping into these types of lectures, I guarantee you, man, you will get clean and sober. Take care.